Hey everyone, I'm John Gerardi, sports editor at the Williamsport Sun-Gazette, alongside Henry Huber, sports editor at the Lock Haven Express, and we're going to talk a little bit of wrestling today about both our coverage areas and some teams and all that to look at. Let's start with Bald Eagle area. You know, they're 8-3 this year, went 6-0 at the Towanda Dandy Duels, beat pretty much all of their opponents fairly convincingly. Yeah. Just how beneficial do you feel it is for Bald Eagle area to wrestle at the Dandy Duels, King of the Mountain, and Trojan War, kind of boom, 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 back to back like that?
It's great for preparing them both from a team standpoint and an individual standpoint. With Dandy Duels, there were three teams, being Towanda, Montgomery, and Honesdale, that were all still currently ranked. Good competition to kind of gauge where they were at duel-wise, and then Trojan Wars is one of the biggest tournaments of the year in Pennsylvania, and as well as King of the Mountain. Just to kind of gauge where some of their top wrestlers are, and maybe see if they need to move up or down a weight. So be very, very, very beneficial in terms of prep.
And you got Caleb Close. 23-1 this year for them. Just recorded his 150th win. He has 16 wins by fall. You've seen BEA wrestle a few times this year. Just how impressed have you been by the season he's kind of having and how dominant he's kind of been?
Yeah, I mean, he's building off of three straight state placements. I mean, incredibly consistent wrestler from start to finish, and that's really. That's really taken center stage this year. Model of consistency, very powerful, but also quite nimble for being at 189. He can move around the mat in a flash. So yeah, I mean his goal is pretty obvious this year. He's number 2 in the state. Wants to pick up that state title as a senior. So that's what he's striving for.
And you also got Tanner Gunat. Hopefully, I'm not mispronouncing that too bad. Gunat, 28-7. Caden Judas, 28-5. Yeah. Both of them are also state ranked as well.
Yes.
Just talk about the impact those three guys kind of have in that lineup. To have the three state ranked wrestlers all kind of helping. Just, I guess, help that lineup kind of boost them when they need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the fact that they consistently pick up bonus point wins, but they're also helping in the weight room, the wrestling room, the other guys get better. I mean, guys like Gage Gardner, who's currently ranked, Dawson Lamason, they both hang around the same weights as them.
Yeah,
so, and then. It's always big for momentum when you pick up a pin or a tech fall, which they have a tendency of doing pretty consistently.
Yeah. Let's shift here to Central Mountain. Central Mountain is just dominant like they usually are year in and year out. 8-0. Took 4th at the Top Hat, 2nd at King of the Mountain, won the Counter Sport Duels, and in that they held all three of their opponents to 19 or fewer points. Yeah. And they also took 3rd at the Midwinter Mayhem tournament, which had a lot of talented kids out there. They're just living up to that, I guess, kind of tradition that Biff Walzer's kind of established there. They're just you're going to be in for a really tough battle when you go up against Central Mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. And they lose 3 of their heavy hitters from last year, so they're not as top heavy as usual, but they make up for it with their depth from top to bottom. They have 11 guys that have winning records going into their match on Thursday against Williamsport.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean even their freshman class is progressing with every match. So yeah, very, very impressive as always. Very, very well coached, and that shows each time they take the mat.
Yeah, talk too about just Dalton Perry. He's ranked number 2 at 145 pounds. And he's 21-3 with 19 falls. He's a tough wrestler, I feel like, to score points against, and he kind of just is able to dominate a match no matter who he's against.
Yeah, I mean it's it's kind of a blink and you'll miss it type of wrestler. He's very, very good off the jump, sizing up his opponent, and then figuring out first shot and figuring out where to land his first shot, and then quickly translating that into a pin. I mean, think of his 19 pins, a fair amount, or first period. I mean,
yeah.
like his King of the Mountain title run. I think I want to say his 5 pins were in like around 4 minutes combined. So
Crazy,
pretty crazy. Yeah.
We have Gavin Heverly too, ranked number 10 at 114 pounds. You got Aiden Coons at 127, ranked number 4 in the state. Just talk about those two guys and what they kind of mean to the lineup as well.
Gavin Heverly, I mean, he is. His most impressive attribute is his tenacity. I mean, he breaks his nose at King of the Mountain and proceeds to defeat a state-ranked opponent by a major decision, which was absurd.
Yeah,
Ultimately
just toughness there.
Yeah, and that shined from he's only a sophomore. That shined at PIA duels last year. I mean, he picked up a really big win for them to help them ultimately take third. And then Aiden Coons is, he showed out from the jump as a freshman last year, but he's become a much more polished and consistent. Last year he had 15 losses. This year he only has 5 so far, and all of them have been matches that he was in till the very end. And then building on Coons, he had 2 guys that he lost to at King of the Mountain that he faced again at Midwinter. Lost to them by 5 or 6 points, and at Midwinter he lost to one of them by 1 point, and then beat another. So
yeah,
he shown that he can adjust to matchups as well.
Exactly. Belfont 6-3. They're having a good season as well, and they have 2 state ranked wrestlers. You got Wyatt Long, 127, number 17 in the state, and Jackson Long, number 19 at 172. You've seen Belfont wrestle a bit. What have you kind of seen out of those 2 guys that have kind of caught your eye a little?
So Jackson, unfortunately haven't seen them in person too often, but he is, from what I've seen, he's very strong defensively. As it stands, he's posted 3 shutouts in a row, 4 in his last 5 matches, and then Jackson Long's Wyatt Long's kind of a pin machine lately.
Yeah.
7 first period pins in his last 10 matches, and very very strong. I want to say brotherly duo.
Yeah.
And then their lone state returner, Escher Swisher, he's currently ranked number 8 in the state at 152. Only has 1 loss on the year. Has been as polished as they come. Just 1 loss on the year. He's a junior, and he's really fine for that state placement this year after qualifying for his first time last year.
Yeah, I feel like once districts comes, those 3 are kind of going to try to do something when they get to that district tournament.
Yeah, and then they're an interesting dual team as well. 6 guys with I think 25 or more wins, a couple underclassmen that are stepping up lately. So I'm definitely interested to see what they do down the stretch here.
Let's kind of pivot here to Montoursville. 11-1. They just lost their first duel of the year to Bishop McDevitt. Always a tough program.
Yes.
Lost to that one 45-15, but I feel like with the district duels here just a few weeks away, I believe February 1st, that is, I feel like that loss may help in the end kind of refocus, kind of know, okay, this is what we got to work on in these tough opponents if we want to make a run through districts and then through states.
Yeah, I mean, they've, as you said, 11 straight dual wins can kind of, I don't know, you end up getting a bit overconfident. So having that scheduled down the stretch is pretty big. I mean, in terms of not just leveling their confidence, but seeing where they might need to make adjustments in their lineup down the stretch.
And they also have, I believe, here coming up, they have Montgomery, Warrior Run, and Selinsgrove as their last 3 duels. That's a tough schedule to close out the year with.
Yeah, absolutely. Warrior Run a bit gutted this year in terms of filling a roster, but they have a lot of guys there that can test some of Montoursville's ranked wrestlers. And then Montgomery is they're ranked top 20 in the state, so that should be an interesting one.
Yeah,
and they have. This Saturday, I think Montoursville, they're going to Clearfield for Bison duels, which will feature number 6 Clearfield, number number 22 in Class 3A Altoona, and number 20 another team.
Yeah,
that's ranked up there.
Yeah, but that's the one thing about Montour. Like when I was talking to Telly Babotis at the PHAC Duels, he mentioned about how they love going to these tournaments where they're up against tough teams. They went to Powerade, had some success out there. Obviously King of the Mountain, Top Hat, the Clear Bison Duels. He said they enjoy that because they go up against these really tough schools and individual wrestlers, and it helps them kind of know where they're at and kind of get a feeling like, okay, we can compete with just about anybody in the state.
Yeah, no, I mean they do a very good job when it comes to scheduling, and Powerade it happens to sit on that same level as Trojan Wars.
Yep.
A lot of good in-state and then out-of-state teams. So these wrestlers from Montoursville, like they've like they're like a lot of them are also vying for state placements.
Yep.
So having that prep is big.
And I talked to Gage Wenzel at the PHAC. He medaled at the Powerade tournament, and he said that just kind of gave him just a huge boost of confidence. Like if you can, at Powerade, if you can kind of compete with the best in the country, you can compete with the best in the state. And so he's riding a lot of confidence after that. And he also took, I believe, he took a medal also at PHACs too. So he's having a lot of success here individually with some big confidence boosting wins.
Yeah, I mean Gage Wenzel, he takes fourth at state last year, and I mean that's kind of the issue sometimes with wrestling is you go through a 4-month season, and like your confidence is high going into states, and it turns out that the competition just wasn't where it needed to be.
Exactly.
And I mean you get punched in the mouth. So having that prep is huge for sure.
Hughesville 8-1, they're having a great season. Just an outstanding year. They took second at the Jim Thorpe tournament, third at the PHACs, which Montoursville won the PHAC tournament. And then at their own Spartan Duels, they won that in convincing fashion. I just feel like the biggest strength Hughesville has is they don't really have there's no real weak spot in their lineup. They can it doesn't matter where they're at, they can pick up points, pick up wins, and win those duels.
Yeah, I mean this is their year to really make a push for day 2 of district duels. Mm-hmm. They have eight seniors on the roster. 6 of them have 20 or more wins this year, and then you've got like underclassmen like Kyle Hartman that are like really making a name for themselves as well. So I'm very interested to see what they do in district duels, and then just moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I talked to Keegan Smith after the PHAC, and he's I believe he's ranked in the state as well. Yeah. And he was mentioning about how he's a senior and he just wants to kind of go out. He hasn't been able to reach states before, and he wants to kind of like finally break through. He just seems to. He said this is just. He feels like he's gifted physically and athletically, but that's his mental game. He's just he said every match except the one he lost Saturday in the finals of the PHAC duels. Every one of those he feels like he's just been in the right mindset going into those matches. And I feel like in wrestling that mental mindset is such a huge thing. Like I feel like that kind of flies under the radar a little bit with some of the wrestlers, that they don't realize how strong you kind of have to have as a mental mindset going into these matches.
Absolutely. It's like it's okay to have like nervous excitement going into these matches, but you have to be confident if you want to prevail. Because you have to establish offense, and then you have to be mentally focused enough to know when to shift to defense.
Exactly. Yep. And in Montgomery, they're just proving that they're tough to beat. 18-2, only losses were to BEA by 13 points and Towanda by 6. So it's not like those teams are blowing them out. They're in every single duel.
Yes.
You had to think they're one of the favorites to win the District 4 duels tournament.
Yeah, they'll be a team that gives Montoursville a run for its money there. Obviously they're top heavy with guys like Brant Hare and Manny Stolfus, but they also have a lot of depth pieces that can have them score points in some toss up matchups, which is key in matches like that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to District 4 duels because I feel like Montgomery, Hughesville, Montoursville, and even though they're a little banged up, Warrior Run, I feel like those 4 are kind of the 4 to watch, and I think they're just kind of going to be on a collision course that they're going to meet at some point and have some really good, exciting matches.
Yeah, I mean, all area teams. I'm very, very interested to see what they can do there. And you've got teams like Mifflinburg that gave Montoursville a good run, as well as Southern. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a packed tournament.
Yeah.
Montgomery though, Brant Hare ranked number 1 in the state at 139 pounds. He's like you mentioned earlier, blink and you miss it. He's one that if you blink, you may truly miss his match with how fast some of those are. He had earlier in the year a tech fall within I think it was 30 or 40 seconds, which is just ridiculous to score that many points that fast in a match.
He had one that was 19 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that's even possible.
I want to say 10 tech. The thing is they adjusted the points this year to where takedowns are 3 points now, and I think he's. Someone I guess struggling to adjust that in the sense that he's not pulled off as many pins this year because he's racking up points too fast.
Exactly. But he at the Midwinter Mayhem this past week, he knocked off the 5th ranked wrestler in the country. I think people already knew Brant Hare was kind of just a dominant wrestler. I think he established that last year, but I think by doing that, knocking off the 5th ranked kid in the country, I think he kind of cemented himself as he's the best at his weight here in Pennsylvania, and no one's really kind of. I don't think there's really a close second.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm trying to think. I mean he has 85 wins in a row as it stands.
Yeah, which is ridiculous for any wrestler.
I mean beat a nationally ranked guy in Camden Baum in last year's state championship. I mean. Not just the best in the state, but I wonder if anybody in the country could beat him.
Yeah, he's just dominant. I mean, it'd be interesting to see him against some other just random guys throughout the country that are ranked in just a tournament to see how they would do against him. Manny Stolfus, he recently reached his 100th career victory. Nice accomplishment by him. He's having a good year too. He's 26-3 this year.
Yeah.
And he's just been wrestling great. And all 3 losses were close decisions. He lost 7-4, 3-2, and 8-5. So you really have to work if you're going to try to beat Manny on the mat. Obviously a lot of people know how good Brant is, but I feel like Manny kind of flies under the radar a little bit with how truly good of a wrestler he is.
Yeah, no, I mean, as you said, I mean, he just picked up his 100th win. He's only a junior and could be vying for around 110, or maybe 120 this year. I'd argue he's wrestling with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, having been to the state tournament twice and not picking up a win at the tournament at the moment.
Yeah. Let's kind of to close out the show here. Let's kind of talk about who we feel are kind of going to be the toughest weight classes kind of going into districts for District 4. I'll let you kind of go first because I had 2, so I don't want to steal one from you if that's who you were going with. So
gotcha.
you go first. What do you think is going to be the toughest weight class in terms of District 4 once districts kind of rolls around?
So I'm trying. I mean, I want to go with the obvious answer at 172, being that there are 6 or 7 state ranked guys there. But I do think one of them that will kind of fly under the radar is 133, being that. I think I want to say there are either 4 or 5 guys that are ranked between 8 and 18 in that weight class. So I mean, all those that will face off at districts, and I think it's Bloomsburg's Anthony Barra.
Yep.
You've got. I'm trying to think who else there is.
Tawanda's Gage Evans.
It's a lot of non-WSG area team guys, but that's an interesting one. And then 107 is you've got Manny Stolfus, Brandon Eisenhower.
Yep. And they're both ranked in the top 10 too at 4 and 9 respectively. So they're going to be tough.
Yeah, and then it's going to be tough to get like that. Get to regionals, just being that there's I want to say 6 or 7 ranked guys there
at 107.
So I mean it's hard to pick a singular answer. I'll let you take 172 because
172 is going to be mine. I mean, you have 7 guys in District 4 ranked in that class. You got Max Wernsberg at Warrior Run ranked number 3, Gage Wenzel Montoursville's 4, Midwest is Grant Yount at 12, Lewisburg's Chase Wenrich 16. Hughesville's Connor Knight 21, Benton's Evan Brockenshire 23, and then Lyon Mountain's Cohen Shingera at 24. So that's just a loaded weight class there.
Yeah, you're gonna have somebody that ends up getting like left out of the top 6 to make it to regionals and then make it to states. I mean, those are all guys that should qualify for states, but it's gonna be a photo finish there.
It just speaks too about just how loaded like Central PA is in terms of wrestling. That
absolutely.
You have 7 guys ranked there in the state at 172, and only 6 can go on to regionals. So
yeah, and I mean, not to mention with that class, that matchup between Gage Wenzel and Max Warrensberger. I mean, barring like crazy upsets occur, like that's one of the matches to watch.
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
Both districts and regionals. Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for us with our wrestling breakdown, and we'll be back. I'm sure we'll be back before the postseason kind of rolls around to kind of talk more wrestling later on.
Absolutely.